Hey there, VOLS fans. Welcome to another episode of Tennessee Fan Talk. We welcome you. We thank you. If you have not already, please, down below, click that subscribe or the notify or the like. Be sure to share
or
this.
dislike. We'll take it.
Sure to share this out with your friends. We got a big episode for you planned today. We got to talk mainly about our Vols, what we saw, what we didn't see, what we're worried about, first and foremost. A little bit of around the SEC with how we predicted things and how they turned out. Not most importantly, but a big thing, a little scary, and it has to do with Vanderbilt. We'll talk about that right after we get this intro rolling. Come on in and join us. All right, guys, gals. As always, we've got
dudes, dudettes.
We've got next to me that way. I'm still having. I'm so used to doing like this. That way, we've got the Duke. You follow the Duke on Twitter at Brad Rush, and myself, Brandon Bird. You follow it at Instagram, Brandon Bird TN.
Ladies, he's straight flexing. Instagram, straight flexing.
Straight flexing. On with the show, we're going to talk about our Vols to start the show. There's a couple things that we thought that would happen, right? We knew it was going to be a score. Vegas hit it dead on with overall points, right? Not so much the spread between, but overall right on the money. What I did not expect, tell me if I'm wrong, the lack of defense that I saw. You're taking a team that last year led the league in tackles for loss, and they had essentially zero. They had some garbage times in the fourth quarter, 2 of them, I believe, and 0 sacks. Now, is this something where maybe Tim Banks was telling them, we're good at that, but we're not so great at coverage. Let's focus on coverage because we're going to need to do that in the weeks to come. We know that we're good at tackles for loss. We know that we're good at getting in and good sacks. Let's focus on this. Could that be the case?
I mean, I think that's exactly what it has to be. I've seen it all over the internet. I'm not worried one bit about the no sacks. I'm not worried one bit about the tackles for loss. At the end of the day, what are we trying to do, Bird? We're trying to win.
Put a whole bunch
We're
of
trying to
points
win
on the board.
We're trying to win. And that's what we did.
Yes.
I don't think it's anything to get up in a fuss about. Sacks help wins, but they don't. You're not going to lose because not having sacks. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
I could see him soften it up a little bit, just play fundamental football, trying not to maybe not even show anything. We don't know. Maybe they were just playing very conservative. No disrespect to Testicle Tech. We thought, they weren't they weren't going to be. I mean, they're not a Kentucky or an Alabama or a Florida rolling in the kneeling. So we're like, maybe we don't have to show all our cards at once kind of thing, too. It could have been any of those things. Once again, I'm not too worried about no sacks. I'm here I just want the Vols to win. Last time I checking my watch. Yeah, they won, so I don't care.
They did win. It was a very exciting first 30 seconds of the game, and maybe that's the thing. Hey, if we do well in coverage, we're going to have more interceptions, right? They start off right off the bat, interception and a score. Nealon was jumping right after that.
Oh, yeah, you were there.
Oh, yes.
Flex on him.
I tell you, it was jumping. So defensively, great. First play, interception. Offensively, first play, touchdown. You can't get any better than that. That would be great if that's our new thing, right? The Vols are coming for an interception and going to go for a touchdown within 30 seconds of the game. What I did not like, okay, we know what we are offensively, okay? We know what we are offensively. We're fast, first in first quarter points. We lead in speed, all that. But poor defense can allow that fast offense to mean nothing, right? So,
not if I score 59 and they score 58.
Last year, they were 42% in allowing conversions. They allowed so many conversions that they were ranked 101st out of 131 in the nation.
Third down defense?
Yes. That's horrible. So they've got to stop that. Ball State's second drive, there was times when we met them in the backfield or at the line, and they still got positive yards. This is Ball State. So what happens in a couple weeks when we go against Florida? What happens when we face Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama? Guys that have a lot more experience with running and the bigger guys than Steele.
I mean, Steele has some accolades. I mean, he was good. Also, you got to take in consideration here, not saying that we're not going to get the best version of Florida or the best version of Alabama or the best version of Georgia when we play them. But this was Ball State's Super Bowl.
It was.
Think about it.
It was.
Prime time.
It was. First time
SEC
ever.
football.
First time ever in Neyland, you know.
Yeah, first time ever. Prime time television Thursday. The only game on that night. I mean, I'm sure there might have been another one. It might have been on the West Coast. Something in my world, nothing else mattered. And in Ball State's world, nothing else mattered. That was like, you know, and I mean, I played college sports. That's what the coach would say. Shock the world. And now you know their coach was preaching, shock the world. That's right. So,
yeah,
obviously, we've got the best version of Ball State they're going to have, except for maybe that first play. I mean, was it Paddock? Is that how you say his name? He wasn't terrible.
He wasn't terrible.
269 yards. That's not terrible. I mean, 69 high. But, you know, I mean, Steele's good. He's fast. He's strong. He's a good runner. He could play at a bigger school if he wanted to. He could easily be the number one back at Vandy. He could probably be the number one back at South Carolina. He's a number two back for sure anywhere in the SEC. So, I think a lot of the reason that a lot of people were questioning this defense stuff is because of the dumbass Jordan Rogers. I can't stand that guy on the call. Up there eating daggum ice cream sandwiches and all that jazz. Well, I mean, obviously they're trying to fill some dead time when the game's a blowout. But the only reason people are bringing up the sacks is because he said it a million times. Oh, Tennessee hasn't got a sack yet. I mean, if he wouldn't have said anything, the normal fans in the world wouldn't even have brought it up. You'd be like, heck yeah, we won big. Not that, I mean, Tennessee fans are always looking for something to fuss about. We're never satisfied. I mean, we could go whatever 13-0, whatever how many games you play nowadays, and some stupid fan from freaking Cott County will say, "Why didn't we go 14-0?" People always looking about something to complain about.
Hooker, just your opinion on Hooker. He started out like Hooker does with his, the first game's always a jitter. Get the jitters out. Get things rolling. You've only played against your own guys, the guy that you're in the locker room with, that you're in the weight room with, that you are, even in the same hall, right, as sleeping quarters go. You're in the dorm, whatever. I was waiting on you to add something to that, and I'm so glad that you did not.
Hey,
but
restraint.
I saw too many overthrows from him starting out. And you get people in there going, look at Milton. Milton had no pressure. That game was over with. He's not fighting for his spot. He's been told, you're the number 2 guy. So, of course, you take away all the pressure. And he went out there and had fun. You could see him smiling, laughing. He was having fun. Great for him. Glad it worked for him. Hooker got to settle down, especially coming up in this week. People that looked better, looked a little better running the football. The freshman Sampson looked amazing. I can't wait to see
that fumble.
More little fumble. And then let's not forget about Squirrel White. So introduce some new players to us. Some players in right that was injured come back. Of course, Jabari Small is who he is. So all in all, I'm okay. So we talk about this game and get into the game stats on this. 17 first downs for Ball State, 32 for Tennessee. The total yards, absolutely insane with 569 yards. By the way, next week we play Pitt. They only put up 384 yards against West Virginia in their slim win. Here's where we talk
backyard brawl.
These third down conversions for us is not good. 5 for 14, not great. Fourth down, to see that we had to go for fourth down 3 times is a little concerning against this team. We did better in the red zone. 7 for 7, 100% in the red zone. That's something you never hear from Tennessee.
No, heck no. We're normally fumbling or throwing picks in the red zone.
And time of possession, of course, right in line with that of our opponent, which never really happens. Same thing over for Pitt, who we face next week. Their time of possession was roughly the same. They had about 32 minutes on there through a turnover and had about 20 first downs. So if you look at how they played against what I consider a less opponent in West Virginia.
It's still considered in a higher echelon of schools. Maybe is a good word to put it. Yeah. It's once again they're not. It wasn't no slouch. They weren't playing Ferrum. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and it was a rivalry game, so they were both juiced up.
They were.
They haven't played this in a long. I can't remember what was last year. They played the backyard brawl.
And there's news for that for our second show of this week with Pitt.
Sorry.
No. I'm glad that you said it because it reminded me of it, and it's completely unnerving. And I hope Tennessee fans take care of it, and we'll talk about that in the second show. For now, we do want to go around the SEC for just a couple of minutes, starting off with that. How long or when was the last time in which Vandy could say that they led the SEC? Number one in the nation?
Never.
Number one in the nation?
Never.
Because SEC is the toughest, right? So, and they're leading the SEC. Is Vandy not number one in the nation? Georgia should be. It's crazy that Alabama is number one still because they had a far less opponent than what Georgia could have had, which
preseason rankings don't mean jack.
I love that first week rankings. I would love to see the Vols on that. That's kind of exciting.
That's not for me. I don't want to be ranked.
I just want to sneak in. Just want to sneak in.
It just gets my hopes up.
They're going around the horn. Of course, we picked Missouri to beat Louisiana Tech. The first quarter, just horrible. Mizzou just played horrible. If it wasn't for their second quarter, it would have been a lot closer game. They can't be excited about how that worked out. Texas A&M, we picked them to win that game. Of course, big blowout. Arkansas, Cincinnati, I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did there. 31-24. Arkansas.
I was pulling for the Bearcats.
Everyone and their mama knows about Bo Picks and Oregon falling to Georgia. Not even a chance.
Faux picks. Faux picks. He's a fraud. Better than me and you, but a fraud nonetheless.
Ole Miss beating out Troy
that's closer than what I thought it would be.
Like no one else has ever beat Troy. Auburn and Mercer. Mercer's used to get their butt stomped by Alabama every other year. Here's the game. A couple of the games I want to get to. We won't talk about Kentucky and Miami of Ohio because that's just whatever. We knew. I knew that Vanderbilt would beat Elon. I think that may have been Elon. Maybe the one that you originally said Vandy would have the one on.
Maybe so. I'm still going to take the odds every week against Vanderbilt, picking them to lose. I mean, they only beat them by 11 points. And then once again, a win's a win. I said that earlier.
Will Rogers, with his 450 yards, beats Memphis. Little payback for last year. And, of course, South Carolina beats Georgia State, in which your boy Shane Beamer threw a little salt after the game, saying he knew some other SEC teams had trouble with Georgia State. And he is alluding to the Pruitt era.
Well, I can tell you what, they had a very slow first half. I watched it. I was in Columbia, South Carolina when I was watching. Didn't go to the game.
First quarter, nothing to nothing.
I can tell you what, I ain't worried about South Carolina as I'm worried about
Tennessee Twitter went crazy. They were like, dude, we throttled you last year. Shut your mouth.
I mean, I don't know why we're so. I mean, I know why we're so hated, but I don't know why we live rent free in so many people's brains. Other programs. I mean, we're miserable with each other, but I guess on the outside, we look like a pretty happy fan base. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, we're miserable Tennessee fans, but you know what we got in common? Oh, we're Tennessee fans.
That's
and
right.
At the end of the day, I have your back, you have my back.
That's right.
And there's some inward. It's like, I mean, as bad as I hate to say it, it's like the United States, where everybody hates each other on the inside, but if somebody from the outside comes after you,
that's right.
We're going to take care of business. It's kind of how it works with the Tennessee.
There's going to be a song put together by a country music artist, and we're going to route up and go after you. The game I really want to talk about just a minute with you is the Florida-Utah game. Of course, everyone's going, oh, yeah, they knocked off a highly ranked opponent in number 7 Utah. And going back to what you said, preseason rankings mean nothing. It's Utah. At the end of the day, it's Utah. Okay? Richardson, which is weird, ESPN lists his name twice
because he was leading in passing and rushing.
So one of the two, he only threw for 168 or 106 yards. I think he ran for 106.
That's what it is. Yeah, he ran for 106 and he threw for 168.
You know, not great. And the fact that they had to come back in the fourth. What does that say to you about Florida? Should Tennessee be a little bit more concerned? Do you still feel that Florida...
I'm not the guy to ask. I've been saying the whole time Florida's going to beat them. And I'm gonna keep saying that just for the fact of the psyche of myself and everybody else, all the other listeners out there.
If you're a Florida fan, let's put it this way.
You have to be happy. You have to be extremely happy.
You're happy that you won the first game. Do you think that you can come in and beat Tennessee?
Oh, sure. I think they can. I think they were a little worried about Napier at first just because it was kind of like, you know, so Fort Knox, Quantico stuff, hush, hush. Nobody really knows what's going on down in Florida because there's no news no news is good news, or no news is bad news, I guess, in their mind. Like, there's no hype, there's no anything.
Nothing.
And if we're being honest, he wasn't. I mean, was he that touted of a coach? I guess he was. I mean, was he that hot to trot? Was there people hot to trot on him? I'm just saying, I have some friends that are hardcore Florida fans, legit, not like your bandwagon guys that, you know, that everybody knows in a Tennessee or from Alabama and Florida, people from here, you know, Florida guys that decide to buy jorts, Alabama guys that maybe go on a date with their third cousin. And they were nervous. So, like, nobody wanted him. They didn't think he was going to turn out. They were really worried, like, oh, we're not going to be any good this year. I think momentum's at a high down in Gainesville right now, and I think we should be worried. I mean, are they going to beat Georgia? No. Are they going to finish second in the SEC East?
No.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I mean, if Richardson gets hurt, then absolutely not. I mean, by the way the stats look after the first game, anyway, from what I'm looking at here.
Of course.
But
the other game,
I could see it.
Speaking of a head coach, not sure if it was a hire. I mean, they gave him a 10-year contract right off the bat, so maybe they knew it was going to take a long time to get it turned around. Although they did win a natty.
Or that's how they can spread their buyout out.
or their natty wasn't that far away, so why they feel that it's a full turnaround, I don't know. But, of course, now Florida State starting 2-0, beating LSU, comes down to the buzzer with the missed extra point. If you are that kicker, kicking is a very psychological thing. And
yeah, it's like golf.
He better pull it out quick.
Case. Or a pitcher on the baseball field. He's a head case right now.
It doesn't matter.
It's going to creep in the back of his head every time he comes up.
It doesn't matter how many times he has kicked that ball since Sunday through Friday. They pull his number, pull his card, and he goes out on Saturday. It is right there. And he's either going to beat it out and feel better about himself, or he's going to get replaced really, really, really quickly. But to have 2 blocked by Florida State.
I will say this, that Brian Kelly looks like he's about as interesting as a blank piece of paper.
No emotions. I mean, they score that touchdown. He's not excited. He just won. Nothing.
I don't know. Maybe, I saw all kinds of memes and stuff that said that he was more worried about practicing on his Southern accent than he was winning the football game. I saw that everywhere, which maybe's true.
Saw several of those. Well, we've talked about our Vols. We've gone around the SEC games that matter. That big headline of Vanderbilt leading the SEC.
Did I only miss one game? Did you come up with you never said, it was the final, were you what and one or something? You get what I'm saying? Wins and losses. Did we all get it right except for me picking Elon kind of thing?
I will have to post that social media to show where we are.
Put you on the spot. My bad.
Yep, because I hadn't even got that put together yet. Haven't got it put together. That's okay. Hooker, Vols, 4 touchdowns. Tennessee opener, 221 yards by Hooker. Gotta love it. Tennessee,
we're rolling.
59, Ball State 10. Great way to move on to game 2 in Pitt, which we will talk about on the second show of this week.
It just felt good not to play down to our competition like we have forever.
That's right. Fans, we want to thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hop over onto Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow. Share us, if you will. Comments down below on what you thought about the Ball State and Tennessee game. We will be sure to answer and engage with you as long as you're willing to with us. If you want to be on the show, remember, same thing. Hit us out on any of those platforms. Give us a little... There he is. I don't know what happened. You went away and then came back. Give us a little DM on any of those platforms, and we can get you on a show of your choosing. Don't have to be a Vols fan. You can like whomever's coming up. If you're if you're an
Missouri,
if you're an Akron fan and want to get on next week, just let us know.
Pittsburgh. That'd be cool to get somebody from Steel City.
There we go. Talk about it afterwards. Thank you very much. Remember, wherever you are, we are. We are TN Fan Talk.
Go Vols.